Thanks for being here. So, why do you think we're having such disparate conversations about the future of work? Why do you think that is? If I asked every single one of you in this room right here, I would probably get a completely different perspective. Even the futurists actually don't agree on the future of work either. These are all different trends that they're looking at in the future of work. And so, what's going on here? Why is this? Well, part of the answer is actually in the history of our culture and the organizations. So, but before I get into that, I want to take you on a journey in the evolution of our culture and the evolution of consciousness, and consequently the evolution of our organizations. So, but before I get into that, let me just tell you a little history about myself. In the 1990s, I was an engineer in an engineering manufacturing organization. Yes, that's me with all these men. And it was the late 90s, and I just got promoted into the development test engineering group. And I realized that the leadership of command and control just was not working. And I wondered why. What's going on? What's happening about that? And so when I started my master's, I started researching. And what I found was transpersonal psychologists, Ken Wilber and Jenny Wade, among others. And what they were doing is they were collecting the absolute history of our humanity from, back when we were nomads all the way up to current time. They were amassing all of this history, and they were creating a brand new model, and it was called the evolution of consciousness. So what I was doing was I looked into that and tried to figure out what that meant. So as you look at, so a lot of folks are familiar with the evolution of our culture, right? So you've got from the nomadic era up to the agrarian or agricultural age, and then into, as we came out of farms, we came into the industrial age, and then from there, the internet happened, as somebody said, the internet happened, and we started the information age. That's pretty well accepted in this evolution of our culture. This actually also reflects the evolution of consciousness. So what you're seeing is, we're seeing a brand new stage in our evolution. And some people are calling it integral, but what this represents is a whole new level of consciousness, and it's a tipping point in our culture. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. Researchers have looked at this from all different angles, and they have found that humanity evolves in stages. So does, too, our organizations, where we work. So you see here some of the major stages regarding organizational culture that overlays on our evolution of consciousness stages. So starting with the division of labor, the red stage is this organizational culture is all about division of labor. It's all about fear, power, command authority, and it's highly reactive. It's very short term. As we moved up in our evolution, we created hierarchies. And so these hierarchies actually gave us a stable organizational structure. So as we came out of the agriculture age and into more an industrial age, we came into command and control type of organization and type of leadership. But in this stage, employees are not trusted at all. This is where time clocks came from. So as we moved out of that, we went into the more orange stage, and that's about companies are seen as machines and employees are just cogs. So this stage is all about competition. It's all about, and it's motivated strictly by money and growth only. But with the advent of the internet, our worldview started to change. We realized that we were all connected. So we started to move into a values-driven organization. Oh, before I go on though, in the 90s, my company was at that orange stage of consciousness. So then we moved into the values-driven culture. We have an inspirational purpose, and it's all about empowerment and social responsibility. But again, you see now there's a brand new integral stage of consciousness. And what you see here, though, is a huge shift in our perspective. From the green stage down is all about fear-based needs. It's all about survival, and it's all about, I want it, and you can't have it. But as we move into the integral stage of consciousness, it's a different level of consciousness. It's all about, there's deep integrity. These companies are all about integrity, profound commitment to sustainability. Self-managed, they can work anywhere, especially with the mobility, as you saw, one of those trends. So, but what is also staggering is that this is all happening simultaneously in our lifetime. So how many people in this can recognize the culture? Well, a lot of people raise their hands, so everybody must be working for really green or maybe teal organizations. But how many people here recognize maybe some companies that you used to work for or work for in this, right? Yeah, right? Yeah. And I bet they're all over the map. Is everybody, somebody might, well, hopefully not in this one, right? Unless you're in a gang. Let's not go there. So, we're looking at all these different organizations. And it's not to say that, for example, if I might work in an orange organization, but my group or a lot of people that I work with are really green. So it's not to say, it's just really the general trends of where we're going. So why, besides the fact that all of this is happening simultaneously, which is the first time in our history this is happening, what I'm guessing is all of the trends that we saw earlier and all of the different things that you folks wrote down today about why is the future of work, is that we're looking at each one of us through different perspectives. So this might be an explanation of the fracturing that we saw earlier, that I put up earlier. So the challenge is, though, also is to recognize that all of these voices, we all have this, all of this is a voice into our future as well. So if you accept this human evolution of consciousness, and if you accept that our organizations are changing, then you actually, we have what Fred Lelou states in his book, Reinventing Organizations. We hold here something rather extraordinary. The blueprint of the future of organizations, the blueprint to the future of work. This next stage, some are calling integral or authentic, or as I call it, transcendent. This corresponds to Maslow's self-actualizing need as well. So the others agree again that this shift from green to teal is a profound tipping point in our humanity. So through the integral lens, people see the world in a broader perspective. It increases our capacity for creativity, innovation, communication. We're comfortable in the unknown. We're mobile anywhere we want to go. And we can solve complex problems. And remember, Einstein says we can't solve problems in the same level of consciousness that created them. So, why does this matter? Could this be that organizations that continue to adhere to the current states of consciousness will eventually not evolve and fold and fail? So, 93% of the United States, of companies in the United States are reinventing themselves. One of the things that I want to point out in this slide is, because I work in education, look at where the public school system is. Public school system is in the amber level of consciousness. And I would challenge you that the millennials, one of the big things is the trends is the millennials coming in and nobody knows what to do with them. And I believe that the millennials, because they're coming in at an interconnected world, their worldview is a green. So just something to throw out there. But rather than get kind of wrap around the axle about all these disparate views and different things that's happening with consciousness and organizations, what we see, if you agree that this is a trend and we are evolving as a culture, we can actually create a beautiful future together. So hopefully I've expanded your horizons on the evolution of consciousness and the evolution of organizations. Our culture is evolving, our organizations are evolving, and we can co-create this future together. Shift your perspective. The view is breathtaking. And as Peter Drucker says, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Thank you.